What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for May 30th, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Hope everyone had a relaxing, safe, and enjoyable Memorial Day. It is Tuesday, so it's time for a little bit of positivity / motivation. And today, really kind of, as I was doing my workout this morning, it really hit home. Started back running today. Just because I miss it. I actually enjoy running. I'm one of those people that I know some people are like, oh, I'm only running if somebody's chasing me. But I do enjoy it. It allows me to relax. And I feel like mentally I've been sort of all over the place with things. And it mostly because I haven't been running. But over the past year, every time I've run, I've seemed to get some type of random injury, whether it's a knee, plantar fasciitis, pulled a calf muscle, something. So today's quote is strive for progress, not perfection. And that really helped me this morning because my time, it's been a few months now since I've run, and my time was just, I did manage to get 3 miles in. So am I where I want to be? Absolutely not. And will I ever be perfect? Will any of us ever be perfect? No. But each day, strive to be a little bit better. So make that progress, and as long as you're progressing, whatever it is you're doing, whether it's at work, exercise program, a hobby, learning a language, whatever it is, being a parent, being a husband, a wife, whatever, if you're progressing a little bit each day, you're doing something. You're never going to be perfect. Stop looking for that big picture, like perfect thing at the end, because you're never going to get there. But each day, strive to be a little bit better than you were the day before, and you'll be all right. So for today's Tuesday, or this week's Tuesday positive message, strive for progress, not perfection. All right, hopefully it's a good segue into Sixers news. Nick Nurse is our new coach. I'm hoping that he will be able to make us progress as a Sixers team because we haven't been past the second round in a long time. But he does have a relationship with Morey. He coached their G League team while Morey was the head coach out there. Apparently, Embiid was involved with some of the process, and part of the reason why Nick Nurse is coming to Philly, from what I'm hearing, is that he wants to coach Embiid. That's great. I mean, I've said it on here before. Wasn't necessarily my top choice. I don't know if it's a bad hire or a good hire. From what I've seen, like just overall, things are pretty split on it. I know I've been kind of hard on him, saying, oh, well, he's kind of in the Doc Rivers mold where he won one championship with the superstar player for a year. But he wasn't that bad. He's taken Toronto past the second round of the playoffs, so he does have that experience. So a lot's going to, at this point, I feel a lot's going to be dependent upon what they do as far as building the roster around Joe, whether that includes Harden, whether or not Harden's going to want to come play for Nick Nurse. I think those are the questions we want to kind of see. Some sources I was reading saying that this pretty much means there is no Harden coming back. So it could be a situation next year, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this. I've talked about doing the mini tank year, but could mean you take a step back this year to make 2 steps forward the next year. Who knows? But Nick Nurse is your new coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. Flyers news, apparently they are entertaining trade offers for Carter Hart. Danny Briere basically said, if teams are calling, I have to listen. That's my job. I don't know if that necessarily means they're actively shopping him, but I think when you have a team as bad as they are now, sort of a new management group coming in, you have the new president, you have the new owner from Comcast that's sort of taking over, new GM. I think they want to put their own stamp on it, so I don't put a lot of stock in that, but yeah, I mean, at this point, you should be taking calls and entertaining them to see how you can make this team better. I did see, and I don't know where I saw, like I kind of questioned this a little bit, but I did see that the Phillies were one of the one of the favorites, or not favorites, but one of the possible landing spots for Shohei Ohtani. I don't know. They were saying with Wheeler and Nola's contracts coming up that it might be a good possible landing spot for him. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put it this way. If they can somehow swing it financially, sure. I would not be opposed to that whatsoever. But Eagles, oh man, excuse me. Still dealing with these allergies. I think there's a little bit of a cold in there too, so it's a mess. So I apologize for that. Eagles OTAs start today. They'll have some practices Thursday, Friday, and then June 5th, 6th, and 8th. They're not having a regular mini camp like they normally do, and I don't know if that is due to going to the Super Bowl, just something new they're trying. But anxious to see the full team together this week and next to see what kind of how they're gelling. Almost like I'm anxious too. I want to see who's playing with the ones and whatnot, especially on defense. But it is almost Father's Day. And if you're still like me, dropping hints, or your wife or girlfriend is asking you what to get you, why not tell them to go to phillygoat.com. They have a great selection of Philly apparel, T-shirts. I've talked a lot on here about some of the T-shirts. I still love the Mr. Sandman one, the Allen Iverson ear cup, I should say. But they have a ton of Eagles, Flyer stuff, Phillies, Sixers. Maybe you want to celebrate Nick Nurse. Go get some Sixers gear. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. All right, so today we're going to go back to 1935. And on this day, the Phillies beat the Boston Braves 11-6 in Game 1 of a doubleheader. They actually won the second game too. But I want to focus on the first game of this. Mickey Haslam went 3 for 4 with 2 doubles, 3 RBI, and 2 runs scored. For the Braves, left fielder Babe Ruth went 0 for 1 in his only at bat. He didn't play in the second game and would retire a few days later. Never played again, so his last at bat was against the Phillies at the Baker Bowl. Obviously, we know Babe Ruth finishes the all-time home run king with 714. He's now number 3 behind Barry Bonds and Hank Aaron. Much like we mentioned Shohei Ohtani as a possible player the Phillies could pursue, Babe Ruth did start off as a pitcher. Was a pretty damn good pitcher too, but because of how great his bat was, the Red Sox needed to get him into the lineup more than the same way with the Yankees. So he kind of gave up the pitching. But Shohei Ohtani is doing the same thing. But on this day, back in 1935, Babe Ruth played in his last game as a major leaguer against the Phillies, an 11-6 loss while playing for the Boston Braves. Pretty cool little stat there. That game happened at the old Baker Bowl. All right, let's go with the Sixers now. Our Sixers playoff spotlight. We only got one more of these left after today. We are going to go back to 1967-68, and this was the year after they were the defending champions. It was the third straight year they had the best record in the league with a 62-20 record. First in the division once again. Wilt, 24.3 points per game, 23.8 rebounds per game. Let that sink in for a minute. He actually led the team in assists with 8.6 per game. That was the year he led the league in total assists because he wanted to. Hal Greer also averaged 24 points per game that year for the team. Wilt was the MVP. He was All-NBA first team. Hal Greer was second team. They beat the Knicks 4-2 in the semis. Billy Cunningham got hurt in that series against the Knicks, though, and was not available the rest of the playoffs. They would go on to lose to the Celtics 4-3 in the Eastern Conference Final, and they blew a 3-1 lead in that game. So they were the first team ever to blow a 3-1 series lead. It was Wilt's last year. He was traded after that, but we could always use a nurse, I guess, in the house. My wife did say it was funny. She was like, you guys are worried about Doc Rivers and downgrading to Nick Nurse. She's like, nurses know more than anything. So we'll see what that means. But on this day back in 1935, Babe Ruth played his last game as a major leaguer against the Phillies. Eagles OTAs, Flyers news, possibly making some trades, and making the team better. The draft is coming up very soon. Sixers, Nick Nurse, the jury's out. Like I said, I want to see. I don't think it matters who the coach is. It depends on who. Like, are you re-signing Harden? Are we moving away from Harden? Are we taking a step back? I think that's the big thing. Nothing against Nick Nurse, nothing against anybody, but I think Doc kind of just took the fell on the sword for this one, and it's more of a product of the roster. But we'll see. I mean, maybe Nick Nurse can somehow get Harden to come back and motivate them to play better. But we'll see. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday. Remember to strive for progress, not perfection. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.